Hello all.
Hi, how are you? Good evening. We are going to start in a few minutes. We had over 450 people register for this event, so it will take a few minutes to get everyone started. So please be patient. Thank you. Student representatives, if you haven't already done so, please raise your hand and we will promote you to panelists. Thank you. Okay. Good evening. My name is Janine Kiley, and I wanted to welcome everyone to Community Board 2's Schools and Education Committee's first ever student panel on high school admissions. We started this panel in response to parents requesting more information in light of the delayed high school process this year. We have students tonight from 18 schools. A couple of the schools we have more than one student. So we have a series of questions, and I just ask everyone to be patient, and hopefully we can, you will get lots of helpful information from our students. I want to quickly introduce our committee members who are on the screen. We have Carter Booth, who's the chair of Community Board 2. Patricia Laria, who is the vice chair of this committee, and committee members Akila Azqui, parent of 3, Keen Berger, parent and grandparent, Rich Cacapolo, and let's see who else we have on, Mar Fitzgerald, and let's see, I think that's it, who are from our committee members. For the team helping to pull this together, if you could demote our CB2 members other than Betty, Patricia, and I to attendees, so we have less busyness on the screen. I want to just take you through this evening. Let's see. Oops. I want to talk about the meeting focus tonight because there were a number of questions from this meeting is about the student experience at these schools, not about the New York City DOE admissions process. As everyone knows, or many of you know, the DOE has not announced the New York City high school admissions process. What we do know is that there have been no high school fairs or live tours, just virtual tours, and that we do know the high school application and specialized high school registration is not yet open. From the DOE's website today, it still says dates, locations, and formats are also changing from what was published in the 2021 New York City High School Guide. What we can share, and we'll put it in the chat and it's on these slides, is we put together some demographic information and admissions data on the schools that are presenting tonight, what happened last year. So for example, for District 2 priority high schools, how many of the seats were filled from within District 2 versus outside? For schools that have Manhattan priority, how many seats were filled Manhattan versus citywide? And then we broke down the number of seats and the applicants per seat for general ed and students with disabilities. So you can take a look at that data. It's available, we'll put it in the chat, but it's available on bit.ly, bit.ly/CB2HS data 2020. And this presentation will also be available on the Community Board 2 Facebook page. And you can also it's also being streamed live tonight. In terms of protocol for tonight, CB2 member and high school student Betty Kubovi-Weiss will be moderating tonight's panel. She is a senior at Hunter College High School. I do want to encourage all the student panelists as well as the students listening to this call. You too can apply to join your community board. There is always one high school student spot on the community board. So if you're interested in that, we can follow up after this meeting. So during the presentation, we have a series of questions that we'll be asking each student. So each school has similar questions. If something is not covered, please type something into the Q&A, which is at the bottom of the screen. Due to time constraints and the fact that we have so many schools, we may not be able to answer all questions. We do ask that everyone be respectful to our student speakers. If you have a different view, you may ask a question. Please reserve the chat for any technical issues, not for comments. And I just want to remind everyone that attendees will be on mute. I just want to thank our student panelists. We have a long list of panelists, and I think we have one more person. So we have 18 schools. I'm gonna ask every student who's a panelist to put in front of your name. So I see, for example, Erica Allman, it would say art and design. and then put the name of your school before your name, just so it's easier for for everyone to recognize who you are. And with that, I am going to turn it over. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to turn it over to Betty Kabovi-Weiss, who will moderate our panel tonight. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for coming, and thanks so much to all of our student panelists for sharing their time with us this evening. Really quickly, I'm just going to have you all go around and share a little introduction about yourself, your name, your pronouns, where you go to school, where you attended middle school, and then if you were remote or blended before high school's closed. So Stephanie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Stephanie Ramos, and the pronouns I use is she and her. The middle school I went to is Westside Collaborative, and I've been a remote student since schools closed last year.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Stephanie. Layla, could you go next?
Hi, I pronounce my name Leela. I use she, her pronouns. I go to Baruch College Campus High School. And in middle school, I went to PSIS 276, the Battery Park City School.
Thanks so much. Sorry about that, Leela. Helen, could you go next?
Yeah, so my name's Helen Burris. I use she, her pronouns, and I go to Beacon High School, and I previously went to IS 289 middle school, and I have been remote the entire year so far.
Great, thanks so much. Dylan, could you go next?
Hi, my name is Dylan. I go to lab. I use he, him pronouns. I went to Salk Middle School, and I've just been doing remote for the whole year.
Great, thanks so much. Wes, could you go next?
Hi, yeah, my name is Wes Yan. I'm a current senior at Bard High School, Early College, Manhattan. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I went to middle school at the center school. And throughout all this, I was blended at the beginning of this year.
Got it. Thanks so much. Charlie, could you go next?
Hi everyone, I'm Charlie. I'm a junior at Clinton. I go by she, her, and I went to middle school in New Jersey actually. And for high school, I've been remote this entire year.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Khan, could you go next?
Hi, my name's Khan. I use he, him pronouns. I go to Eleanor Roosevelt, previously PSIS 276, Battery Park City Middle School, and previously I was remote.
Great, thanks so much. Vera, you're up.
Hi everyone, I'm Vera Topsick. I'm currently a senior at NYC iSchool, and I used to go to the computer school for middle school, and I was in hybrid learning up until Thanksgiving, and then now I'm completely remote. So.
Awesome, got it. Jasper, could you go?
Hello, my name is Jasper. I go to the Institute for Collaborative Education, also known as ICE, and I went there for middle school also. I'm he, him pronouns, and I was blended towards the beginning of the year, and now it's all remote.
Awesome, thanks so much. Sophia, could you go next?
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm a junior at Millennium, and I was all remote before this happened, and I go by she, her pronouns.
Got it. Thanks so much. Lavinia?
I'm sorry, I'm not a panelist.
Oh, okay. Alexander?
Hi, my name is Alexander Colo. I use he, him pronouns. I attend University Neighborhood High School. I attended middle school in PSIS 163. And before we went all remote, I went blended learning.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Leanne, could you go next?
Hi, I'm Leanne. I use she, her pronouns. I also go to Bard, and I was blended until schools closed recently.
Got it. Lily, you're up.
Hi, I'm Lily Clark. I'm a senior at Essex Street Academy. My pronouns are she, her, hers. and I went to MS51 for middle school, and I was fully remote the whole year.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Erica?
Hi, I'm Erica. I go to high school for art design, and I go by she/her pronouns. I went to Quest Dillard Middle School, and I was blended for about a day, and then switched to remote before we went into quarantine.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I know a couple people that had a similar experience to that. Nick, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Nick. My pronouns are he, him. The school I go to now is NYC Museum School. I attended IS 289 middle school, and I went blended for the first 2 months of school, and then I went to fully remote.
Awesome. Thanks. Alex?
Hi, my name is Alex Laraya. I go by he, him pronouns, and I go to SOF High School. I'm a sophomore there. And I went to IS 289 middle school.
Great. Thanks so much. Daniel?
Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm a he. I go by he, him, and I went to IS 289 high school or middle school, and I currently go to Eastside Community High School, and I was fully remote.
Thanks. David?
Hi, my name is David Zhang. I go to School of the Future. I went fully remote. I go by he and him. My middle school is IS 289. Sorry.
No problem. Thanks so much. Layla?
Hi, I'm a senior at Eleanor Roosevelt High School. I use she, her, and we were blended before, but now we're fully remote.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. And oh, we already did Vera, right? Okay, great. I think, is there anyone that I missed? Some of the boxes got moved around a little bit, so let me know if I missed anyone. No? Okay, awesome. So once again, thanks so much for being here tonight. So hope what our goal for this event, as Janine was saying, is just for you guys to talk a little bit more very, very truthfully about your experiences with your schools so that middle schoolers can get more of a real understanding about what the experience is like at each of your high schools. So first, I'd like to start by talking about the curriculum, what sort of curriculum you feel is present at your school, whether it's more progressive, traditional, collaborative, and also what appealed to you about your school when you applied and whether or not the school has lived up to that expectation. So Jasper, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Well, literally in the name is collaborative for my school, and it's very collaborative, which is like I personally like, but it's also different for different kids. There's something at my school which I'll probably talk about later for a different question, but it's called cycle projects, and there's 4 cycles in a year, and this year it's trimesters, so there's it's like 3 projects, and these projects are most of the time group based. It's a little bit different when it's remote learning, but I know that they still like make you have a group for many projects, and they're very lenient with that. And if it is an independent project, they'll let you work with others. And also another big thing about ICE is there's no standardized testing. So there are still midterms and finals, and you're still given the if you sign up for it, you can take the standardized tests, but they like assume that you're not gonna, because they don't like that, which is cool. And so your grades are mainly based off of projects.
Awesome, thanks. Wes, do you want to go next?
Yeah, as I said, again, I go to Bard High School, Early College, Manhattan, and the sort of the key draw of Bard is that it's an early college, and that means when you graduate from Bard, you graduate with both your high school diploma and an associate's degree issued by Bard College, which is upstate. And this means that in the first 2 years, in 9th and 10th grade, you fulfill your high school requirements that you need to get your diploma. And as you as you go into 11th and 12th grade, all your classes are taught by college professors. You're taking college level classes, and you get college credits for them. And so you end up graduating with 60 college credits that are transferable to some colleges, depending on your situation. And yeah, that's the sort of the base of the curriculum.
Thanks so much. Helen, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I go to Beacon High School again, and something that's unique about my school is that we don't also do standardized testing either. We do something called PBAs, which it stands for project-based assessments. So it could be anything from like an essay, like a presentation, a group project, whatever it may be, depending on the class. Your teacher each like individually designs it for you, and that's much better if you're not like a student who does really well in a testing situation. And I think it's really helped me. That was one of the things that was the most appealing about it for me. And I think that without the regents, that's been a lot of less stress for us. So that was great. And my school, I'd say, is a very collaborative school. A lot of our projects are group-based, and most of our class time is spent in groups. So I think that that's a big part of my school, and that was also very appealing to me.
Great, thanks so much. Stephanie, could you go next?
I go to Harvest Collegiate High School, and I feel like Harvest has a very collaborative curriculum. Every project or just classwork in general is always collaborative. You could always work with groups of 4, 3, 2, as much as you'd like. Even if the project could be an independent project, you always have the option available of working with your peers if you would like, even if you have to develop different works at the end. Harvest is also open to new ideas as well. If there's like a class you wouldn't want to have or a book that you want the teachers to read, your teachers and the principal is always open to new ideas to make students feel engaged in their learning. And one thing that made me stand out to me when I was looking at Harvest was that we don't take regents there, and we have something called gateways and capstones. So gateways are for 9th and 10th graders, and capstones are for 11th and 12th. And it's basically a project where we had to write a paper and develop a presentation about it, and basically talk about our ideas to other teachers.
That's so cool. Awesome. Thanks so much. Dylan, could you go next?
Yeah, I go to lab, and like most, what seems like most other people, since remote learning, they said we aren't doing standardized testing anymore, and grades are all project based. That it wasn't like that with in school, but now, as it looks like it's going to be for a long time, there's no more tests and it's all project based. And it's the lab school for collaborative studies, so it's a very collaborative school. We do most group projects, and everyone participates, and the teachers make sure everyone has a say in like discussions. So yeah, it's very collaborative and progressive.
Great, thanks. Leela, could you go next?
Yeah, contrary to what other people are saying, Baruch is a little bit more of a combination. So there's going to be tests and there's going to be projects. And sometimes the projects are individual and sometimes they're working with other people. Each teacher has a more unique teaching style. As you go through the grades in the different classes, they're going to be a little bit different because they all do things in a different fashion. For example, my history teacher last year was completely different than my history teacher this year. One was a little bit more hands-on, this one's a little bit more independent work. It's going to be a little different each time, but overall, there's tests and projects. Some teachers do more projects and less tests. Some people are more encouraging on tests and less on projects. But overall, the teachers are going to work hard to make sure that you're being able to figure out the information. The one thing that I really like about Baruch, maybe first and foremost, is that you can go and just talk to the teachers if you have a question. It's very like office hours, please come and talk to me. They work hard to make sure you understand the information.
Awesome, thank you so much. Charlie, could you go next?
Yeah, hi, I go to Clinton. And firstly, what drew me to Clinton was that it was an IB school. I don't know if you guys know what it is, but I always pronounce it wrong. It stands for Inter-Baccalaureate Program. And so it basically means that you're taking like college level classes in 11th and 12th grade. And it's kind of similar to AP classes, but a lot of colleges do honor the courses you take in the IB classes, and you can receive college credits, or they offer scholarships knowing that you put in such a rigorous effort into it. and it's out of a 1 through 7 scale, so nothing like A's and B's. So it's a little better for your mindset that you're not looking at your percentages and your grades all the time. Personally, I find that that has helped me a lot in terms of just looking at my grades. And it's definitely a very collaborative school. There's a lot of group projects, but there's also a lot of independence to kind of explore your own ideas and take like a different approach to it. And it's definitely like a different type of learning in that it's not so base level. It kind of like goes beyond the text, and you kind of take a very wide approach to it. So definitely more room for ideas. And they're also very open to adding like new clubs and new electives, like I heard some of the other schools. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Great, thank you. Con, could you go next?
Yeah, so I go to Eleanor Roosevelt High School. It's providing a rigorous college preparatory environment, placing a lot of emphasis on giving back to the community, but also kind of a collaborative. It's kind of a mix with individual projects and also collaborative projects, depending mostly on the class. I think that helps a lot because you're able to not only depend. I mean, you should. They have you not only depend on each other but on yourself, so you can adapt to different situations.
Great, awesome, thanks. All right, Sophia, could you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, so I go to Millennium, and something that really drew me when I was applying was just how the teachers have been there since the beginning, and they've spent like over 10 years finding their teaching style. So similar to Baruch, it's definitely a combination type school in that every single teacher has a different style of teaching, but something that they all have in common is trying to adapt to each new class and figure out what's best for everyone, like whether it's going to office hours and adapting to every different student, or students like with learning disabilities. Like we have really good 504 and IEP programs. So that's been really great. And, you know, developing different relationships with teachers was something that, you know, it really lived up to for me. So yeah.
Awesome, that's so great to hear. Okay, cool. Alexander, could you go next?
Hi, so I attend University Neighborhood, and one thing that really drove me to the school was our early college and hospitality and tourism programs. For hospitality and tourism, we offer so after your first year, you get to pick your track, whether you want early. You can receive early college credits, and at the same time you could receive your technological skills, I guess, the basics such as Microsoft Office, graphic design, and computer science. And then for our early college, we could start taking it as soon as sophomore year. And past junior year, you could basically choose the entirety of your schedule. So for me, I got to choose my entire schedule, whether I wanted honors classes, APs, or wanted to receive college credit for a college class that I attend to. Our college program is from we have the Basic College Now program from LaGuardia College, and most of our students graduate with at least 15 college credits by end of their senior year.
Awesome, thank you so much. Lily, could you go next?
Yeah, so one thing that I think is pretty unique about my school is that the curriculum is entirely teacher created. So for that reason, we don't do AP classes. And like many of the schools represented here, we also don't do regents. We're part of a consortium that's excused from the regents exams. So in place of it, like Beacon, we do PBAs. But we do PBAs, which we call panels, junior and senior year, and then freshman and sophomore we do things called roundtables, which are basically like a collaborative it's a collaborative like circle with a teacher and other students that is an assessment of what you learned over the course of the semester. I think another thing that's unique is that there's like very little testing at my school. It is mostly project based, whether that be, you know, collaborative or individual projects. Yeah, and something that drew me to my school is just kind of the community aspect of it and how like welcoming it seemed, and the people who were there, and just like the connections that I made. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. I found that that's been one of the most important parts of my high school experience, besides the academics, obviously. Daniel, could you go next?
Yeah, so I go to Eastside Community, and also just like Essex Street and Beacon, we also do PBATs and roundtables. So like they were saying earlier, roundtables, you get either like a teacher or a judge or like somebody that's an adult that will come to sit at like a table of maybe 3 or 4 students, where they will judge like your project that you made by yourself or maybe with a group. And it can range because I've only done one from last year because I'm a 10th grader. It was a science one and it was a hands-on experiment that we had to do by ourselves. And so we would get like a rubric and we'd have to go through the rubric and make sure that we have every parts filled out. And then something that drew me to my school was the collaboration aspect. I think that I'm a really collaborative person. I like working with others, and I think that that's something that Eastside really stresses. They want you to like know the community and work well with each other, as well as work well on your own because they do assign independent work time to time. And yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Nick, could you go next?
Sure. I go to museum school. One unique thing that I found about the curriculum was how they have these things called modules. So it's an entire week learning about a certain subject. Usually we would be going to museums. That's why our name is the museum school. So usually we would be going to museums, but we can't really now. So we're doing virtual tours, running through museums. I just recently had one called Structure and Design, and we learned about architecture. So we went through buildings, and it was really cool.
Awesome, that sounds great. Okay, cool. Leanne, could you go next?
I think that Wes covered this a little bit, but part of what really drew me to Bard was, I guess, the accelerated program, but also in that environment, in the high school environment where it's very sort of accelerated, very high speed, people felt very, very excited about what they were learning. So it didn't seem as though anyone was trying to rush through anything or they were working super, super hard to get to the college program. Everyone felt very, very comfortable where they were and very engaged in what they were learning. And I just really liked that.
Cool, awesome. Okay, Layla, could you go next?
Well, I agree with Khan with everything he said, and I think that LRO's curriculum is also progressive. Like, for example, our English curriculum kind of mirrors our history curriculum. So in 9th grade, we read books centered around world history because that's what we're learning in history. So I think that that's really interesting because it kind of reinforces what we're learning while we're learning it. And yeah.
Great, thanks so much. Okay, sorry, I have a little list here. Vera, could you go next?
Yeah, so I go to NYC iSchool, and iSchool it's very non-traditional and progressive. So we have like our own philosophy about mastery. It's called the mastery policy, where basically we're much more focused on actually learning the content instead of just like getting good grades for college. So basically you can retake tests as many times as you need. If you fail a course, you can do something that's called, I think, an MDT, where you can do another project for the course to show that you've ended up mastering it. So it's very much focused on learning the grades. The curriculum is the teachers create their own classes. It's not like your traditional, like you take English for 9th grade 1 year and then you go on to English for 10th grade. It's more classes like Serial, which is based on a podcast about like law and evidence, which is it's a really interesting class. It's very hands-on and really all about real world application. We have like modules, which are classes that are like kind of like Model UN or natural disaster, which are super duper cool. And the community is amazing. The teachers really care about their students. They're so supportive and so nice. We have an awesome advisory program. So those are a couple of things that really drew me to the school.
Those sound so cool. All of these schools just have all these programs that I never even would have known about. Thank you. Okay, Alex, could you go next?
Yeah, I attend School of the Future High School. The way we do it in our school year is that we have broken into like 4 different quarters. So in each quarter, we take 4 different classes, 2 core classes, and then 1 elective and 1 language class. And so in the first quarter, I took geometry and global history, and I took drama in Spanish. This quarter, I take English, chemistry, and I attend art in Spanish. And so it changes every quarter, but we go back and forth. And so it kind of keeps us refreshed, and we don't like pace out of our normal school year activities.
Got it. Thanks so much. David, could you go next?
Okay, so I also attend the School of the Future. So basically, in School of the Future, we don't really have regions. We're very academic based, and we have a progress approach to learning. So something that really drew me to the school was the community. So the teachers offer like extra help outside of the actual classes. Like they host like study halls and circles. Like in these like extra periods, you could ask the teacher about anything, and they could help you with your needs. So that's what I found most entertaining about the school.
Thanks so much. Okay, and then lastly, Erica, could you tell us a little bit about High School of Art and Design?
Yeah, of course. So High School of Art and Design, I think, is a really collaborative and progressive school. And we are a CTE school, so we're a career and technical education school where we allow students to have opportunities to personalize their education based off their career interests and their unique learning needs. Which is what really drew me to the school is we kind of have like a college type feel where we have majors instead of like normal core classes where we have our core classes on top of the major we chose. So for me, I'm in architecture because I want to pursue interior design. And it's really interesting because the teachers kind of personalize their schedule based off of the major you chose. So I found that really, really interesting. And yeah, so I really think the school is really collaborative. We have a really healthy balance between independent work and group learning because they really set us up for our future. They're like, okay, so this is the real world, this is what we're doing, and we really want to help you go as furthest you can, the career, the hobby that you choose.
Great, thank you so much. Those were all such great answers. Okay, so moving on to our next question. I'd love to know one thing, some of you have already touched on this in your last answer, but one thing that you just really love about your school. What's your like favorite aspect of going to school? It can be academic, can be social, can be extracurricular, something like that. Erica, I know you just finished speaking, but could we start with you?
Yeah, of course. I really think my school has a lot of connections with like big like architecture firms, like a lot of like outside resources that we could definitely use in our future. We have a lot of programs such as College Now, which I'll be taking in the future, and it allows you to get college credits in high school now, so you can have possibly even only 2 to 3 years and not through the whole 4 years when you're in college when it comes to core academics. And we have something called the ACE mentorship program, where if you're in architecture, you can go to different architecture firms and work with some of the biggest companies and design your own projects. So you're kind of mentored in any major you choose. So I think that's what I love about my school is that we have so many broad opportunities to really further your knowledge in the major that you choose. And you just have a great time. I think it's amazing that we have all these amazing opportunities to pursue the major.
Awesome. That's so great to hear. Okay, cool. Alexander, could you go next?
Something that I really love about my school, aside from the college now program, is that it's a small school. I think less than 500 kids, and the fact that I know every single teacher, even if I never had them, I know every single student, except for even the current freshman right now. We have various programs where we keep each other connected, such as right now our school has a thing called Unite, where every freshman comes together every Wednesday. And other than that, it's just the school gives us such a power as students to come together to make anything we want. If you want a new club, we can get that. We even have an all gender bathroom, which I don't think many schools have. It's just what I love about my school.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, Khan, can you go? And then we'll go to Layla so we can keep the schools together.
Yeah, so as I said, I go to Eleanor Roosevelt. I love that the teachers aren't really just teaching for a test that's upcoming or a standardized test, but they're really teaching it because they're interested in it. And you can see that in each class they're excited, even if it's the end of the day. I think that also allows the student to become interested in it, because the teacher's not only teaching the class, but also teaching the intrigue of the class in a way. And also giving challenges to the students through the projects they give, which I think even up kind of levels up or pushes the student forward to participate in the classes consistently.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, yeah, so Layla, can you add on?
Yeah, of course. I 100% agree with Khan, and also just the fact, what I love about Elro is that you can always find something you're interested in, whether that be in actual courses or in extracurriculars, and it like the courses and the extracurriculars alike can kind of help you find your passion. So even though Elro's a really rigorous school and there are often times when you're challenged, those challenges are good and they're beneficial to your success.
Great, awesome. Oh yeah, I unmuted, sorry. All right, yeah. Okay, cool. Lily, could you go next?
Yeah, so one of, or like the favorite thing for me about my school, Essex Street Academy, like I said, is definitely the teachers. I think that the relationship that teachers have with students at my school is really unique. We do like a first name basis thing. I think that working with teachers to work on clubs, to just like talk after school has been like so beneficial and formative for me as a person. So yeah, and I also love our advisory program because I think that's another cool way to kind of build community and get to know a specific teacher who's your advisor for all 4 years.
Great, thank you. Okay, Charlie, could you go next?
Yeah, I'm from Clinton, just adding, repeating it. So adding on before what I said about the IB program and how it's a very college-based program, we have something called CAS, which stands for Creativity, Activity, and Service. And in 11th and 12th grade, you're required to document everything you do. It could be like as simple as going for a run or helping someone out. And it has to fulfill each one of these requirements. And it's meant for colleges to see that you're not just all school, that you have more to you. So Clinton really focuses on this extra part of school where it's not just grades. They really want you to be a very well-rounded person and excel in different areas of your life. So that has really helped me throughout my 11th grade so far. But I also love how Clinton, I don't know if you know, it's a newer school. So there's so much opportunity for new clubs and for just new approaches to take because we're so new. So I love that they're so open to new ideas, which is very helpful to have. And also just I don't know if I mentioned before that the classes are very small. So I mean, I don't know compared to other schools, but it's like 20 to 30 kids, and you pretty much stay with that group of kids for most of your classes, and you have opportunity to meet other people. But for your standard classes, you travel with the group of people, so you really get to connect with certain people and form relationships and better relationships with the teachers. So that was really helpful for me adjusting to high school.
Great, thank you so much. David, could you go next?
Oh, me? Okay,
yeah.
So one thing I like about the school is basically the extra as I was saying before, like circles is one thing I like about my school, like where you're allowed to do extra curriculars and extra activities. Like there's like a circle for movies, writing, art, gaming. Like that's what I like because they provide a lot of different options.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Stephanie, could you go?
I know in a Q&A where someone had a question about the AP classes. So for my school specifically, you have the opportunity in junior year to take AP US History. And then in senior year, which I'm currently taking, is AP Computer Science and AP English. And I feel like even though our curriculum is very collaborative, there is a lot of times where the pressure is like really on us, especially during like gateways and capstones. And especially during the remote learning, they gave us a chance to personalize our schedule. And for me, some students have the ability to just end their core classes at I think 210, or you could take a few extra electives that could help if you want to raise your GPA or just learn more. And I personally took a few extra classes, and I feel like that like I personally brought the pressure onto myself, but also like I feel like they do kind of give a lot of work that kind of pushes you and wants you to think. And a lot of the teachers really do ask you questions about your work, and they just really want you to push yourself. But one thing I love about my school is I love the Harvest community. I really feel like my school has become my family, from my advisors and teachers and the friends that I've made along the way. And from the beginning, well, when you go into Harvest, we have an overnight trip to Prince and Blairstown with the freshman students, the 10th grade transfers, and the teachers. And you really get that feel of just being with the community and learning to have, like, make friends and just be around each other. And also field days and winter intensives, where it's a week where you get to be with students from 9th to 12th grade. And these trips really just bring us closer together. And you really get to grow with different mentors and guide you academically and for your future outside of school. And they kind of notice that you need help. A lot of teachers, especially when I was in school, they get to really see like, oh, are you okay today? Like, they really care about you as a student besides just in class. And as I don't know that eighth graders aren't really going to be doing this right when they get into Harvest, but especially with the college help that I've received, I just got into Lehigh University this past week, I think, and I feel like my college advisor really helped me with that process, and she really just kind of pushed me, and she knew that even if you're like going through kind of personal things, they always try to help you, and they're always like your friends. Like, I could text my college advisor like late at night, and she'd be like, hey, what's up? Like, how are you doing? And I feel like that's really great that you have that support, because I know certain student situations at home or just outside of school isn't the best. Oh, and sorry. I also got you also get a lot of like work opportunities too, that I know since it's not since we're not in school anymore, they stop having this class. But if I think when you go to upper house, like 11th and 12th grade, you get to take a class where you could do internships or have jobs other places, and they really help you set you up with that. And recently, I just started working in my college office in my school for a paid position. And I know that's really helped me, still get some money, but then also working with my schedule.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much. Helen, could you go next?
Once again, I go to Beacon High School, and something I love about my school is how well-rounded it is. My school has an incredible arts program. We're so lucky to have like the facilities that we do. Our school is huge, and we are lucky enough to have like a full dark room, a large dance studio, recording studios, a lot of other things that are just incredible. And we go through a rotation. So each student, when you're a freshman, you go through each of the electives. So it's like photography, film, like dance, whatever it may be. You get to try them all out. And so you really get a feel for what you like. And then every other year you get to choose the elective that you want for the whole year, and you get to stick with that for the whole semester. So you get to try out everything, which is great. It could be anything from like public speaking to like current events. It's a great program. And plus my school has a great sports program. I'm on the track team. They have incredible cross country, indoor track, outdoor track team. They have like a wide variety of sports. They have everything from bowling to ultimate frisbee they have a lot of sports. They have a lot of clubs. They have like entrepreneurship club. They have environmental. They're really passionate about their clubs at my school. Something also that I love about my school is that our school day, normally when we are in school, it ends at 2:10. So we get out really early, which I love, because whether we're going to like a sports practice or something, you always end up getting out by like 4:30. So you have the whole rest of the day to do homework, whatever else you may need to do. So it gives you a lot of independence and freedom, flexibility, which I really love. And now currently with it all being online, our school day gets out at 12:50. So we normally have like 3 to 4 classes every day, which is really lucky because it's not like a really packed schedule. They just give you a lot of asynchronous work, which I really love. So I think it really balances out our school days.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Wes, we'll go to you, and then we'll go to Leanne.
Great. So Again, I go to Bard. One thing that I think is really great at Bard is the amount of clubs, similar to what a lot of other people have been saying, the amount of clubs, sports, and extracurriculars that you can get involved with. If you want to start a club, you can at Bard. Most sports teams are pretty inclusive, although some can be a little bit competitive. And I think that outside of that, our school starts a little later than some other schools. At 9 a.m. it starts, which gives people a little more time in the morning, which is sometimes helpful. With it being sort of a relatively small school, probably around 700 to 800 kids, it does give you a chance to get to know all of your fellow classmates, both in your grade and in other grades, which is very helpful. And you can sort of create those strong relationships with other teachers, if you have them or if you don't have them. It doesn't really matter. To address some of the questions that I might have seen, the out to lunch sort of policy at Bard is after your after you complete your first semester as a freshman, you're allowed to go out to lunch. You can leave the building if you have free periods. It's very flexible like that, which I think is very nice. And I guess if Leanne has anything else to say, she can talk about that.
Yeah, I think our clubs foster a lot of nice communication between the grades. So when you come in as a 9th grader, you don't feel as though you're completely set off from everyone else. We also in the college program have mixed grade classes. So I'm actually in the grade below Wes, but we're in the same class because we have the same elective. And we can really just go out whenever, as long as we come back in time for class. I think is nice about Bard. There's a lot of trust in us as students. And I think there was a question about pressure that I saw. And at Bard, everyone is it sort of feels as though it might be a very high pressure environment, but everyone is so intrinsically motivated that the pressure comes sort of from us and it's motivating pressure. So everyone's doing their assignments in service to themselves. Everyone's learning so that they can learn and not so that they can turn in their assignments and their teachers can give them grades. And there was another question I saw about languages. We have Spanish, Latin, and Mandarin. I'm in Latin, and we brought back a program where people could just sort of sample the languages in the beginning of 9th grade, which we took away for a while, but now it's back. And so you can just get a feel for all the languages before you commit to one.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Alex, could you go next?
Yeah, I really like how my school, instead of kind of making us connect with other students in our grade, because it's hard to do that in a remote setting, they have us talk to our teachers so we understand the material better. We have more study hall periods and more SGI periods for us to go to talk to the teachers, understand the work. And so I like that. It makes us, it feel easier. We can connect with the teachers more, which I like.
Great, thank you. Daniel, could you go next?
Yeah, something I really like about my school is the community. I feel like not only the teachers, but also the kids were very welcoming for students that came up from the middle school and knew the building better. They always helped me and they were always really friendly to me. And to address the language question that was in the chat before, my school doesn't offer a teacher for language. They do online Rosetta Stone, and it has been like that since at least I entered the school. And they gave you a long list to choose from. So there was at least a large variety of over maybe 15 languages. And I was just amazed by that. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Nick, you're up.
Something I like about my school is how it's so small. So I get to know all the kids in my grades and I get to know most of my teachers. For languages, for my school, we have a large variety for a small school. We have French, Japanese, and Spanish. I take Japanese and I love it. It's actually really great. There's also a Japanese module where the teacher will bring us to Japanese places. We will learn a lot more about the Japanese culture.
Awesome, thanks. Dylan, you're up.
Well, first of all, I like my school because it's very small. There's about 100 kids in every grade, so you really get to know everyone, and it's a very safe place. Like everyone knows everyone, and everyone's really kind. So I love that. And every quarter or every like marking period, we have these habits of lab learners awards, and it's awards for like most creative student or curious or out of the box thinker student, and it makes a lot of people feel important, and I just really like that aspect of my school. And also we have a trip to Frost Valley in freshman year, so you can kind of you can know everyone in your grade uh, intimately in an overnight trip, and just get to know everyone. So I like those things about my school.
Cool, thanks. Vera, could you go?
Yeah, so I'm a senior now, so I think that throughout the 3.5, 4 years that I've been at iSchool, one of the things that I've consistently appreciated about my school is the community and the support system. So, and I think other people mentioned this in other schools as well. Just the students at the school I've found to be just so nice and supportive. Like I don't think I've ever really witnessed any like actual bullying or exclusion. I think everybody's just so nice and supportive. The teachers are really amazing. We have an advisory program, so I have my advisor also happens to be my math teacher, so I've really gotten to know him, and he is just so supportive. He keeps us on top of things. The college office is because I'm a senior, so I am really getting to know the college office. They're really amazing. They have everything organized. They make sure that everything is like we're on top of all the deadlines. They're giving us different deadlines that are ahead of the actual deadline, so that we're really ahead of the college process. So they're really awesome and super on top of everything. Yeah, just the community. I find it so amazing. Like every time, even remotely, it's kind of amazing to see how people are interacting with each other. I'm a teaching assistant for the physics class, so I'm kind of able to see it from the teacher's perspective as well. It's really amazing. To quickly answer, I saw that there was a question specifically about iSchool, and the NYC iSchool is not like leaning towards math and science or the humanities. It kind of covers everything. It's more about like all the courses are super relevant to today, like what's going on today. It's more directed towards like real life application and kind of applying our learning to the real world and like solving real world problems, which I find super interesting, and it's really cool. And just to quickly answer another question, in terms of pressure, there's not a lot of academic pressure, which is another thing that I really love about my school. There's not a lot of academic pressure or social pressure either. In terms of cliques, I think everybody kind of has their own friend group, but like at least for me, I have my own friend group that I go out to lunch with, but then I feel like I can easily interact with all the other students, which kind of goes into community because everybody's just so nice. So I have like friends from other friend groups, and so there's not a lot of academic or social pressure like in terms of assignments and friends and things. Everybody's super nice.
Awesome, that's so great to hear. Okay, cool. Sophia, could you go next?
Yeah, so something I really, really love that's been carried on for a long time is just sort of allowing the students to have a voice, which can be really difficult in a high school setting with like strict administration and teachers. But we have a lot of structures set up, like the student council and the student senate specifically, that like write things that allow us to have sort of the balance of power. And it really allows students to like have meetings, monthly meetings with their teachers and the PTA to really figure out things that are going on. And this has been like really great for me being a part of like student senate, because you really feel like, you know, you're making change at the school and you're interacting with your teachers in a very different way. So it's really great because I really feel like they just give students the opportunity to like be at the table with the adults too, and sort of be the voices that sometimes you don't always hear. Um, I saw a question about homework, and I hate to say the answer of it depends because it's a very basic answer, but it really does, just based on what classes you're taking. If you're taking APs, if you're taking college now courses, whether you're being productive that week, it's all really dependent. But you know, sometimes there's a lot of homework and sometimes you have tests and projects and sometimes you don't. And also similarly in terms of community, it's a really, really welcoming community. There aren't as many social groups as you might expect, and also social groups really change depending on what classes you're taking. You really bond with kids that, you know, you're taking classes with and you're learning with, so that's another part of it a lot of the time. So the social aspect, there isn't that much social pressure at all.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. Jasper, we haven't gone to you yet, right?
Yeah. So a few things really quick. I appreciate that with the homework, at least it does, like it's not like busy work or anything. And all the homework is just, it goes directly into what you're learning about the next day in school, which like is it's helpful, and it makes you like want to get your homework done because it's not just like packets or whatever. It's like an assignment that is going to be incorporated in the next class. I also like that they separate the workloads, because once you start getting into the cycle projects, which it starts off with very little homework and then slowly builds once it gets into like the projects part of the cycle. And once it gets to that part, it's like the teachers are always there, and the office hours, especially with the Zoom calls, and when all the virtual learning, it's like I can go into an office hours and just kind of work independently, and if I have any questions, they're just there for the hour, and that's with every single class, and I appreciate that. Also, I got a question because ICE is also a middle school, so there are like, I'll say less than 10 kids that go, because the kids that come in are kids that um, are like coming in for kids that left for after middle school, which it varies every year, but I'd say maybe around 10. Um, and it's the kids that I know that come in for last year when I was in ninth grade. Um, I'm like very good friends with three of them now, like very close friends. And then this year I don't really know them because of all this Zoom. I haven't like gotten a chance to get to know new students yet, which is annoying because of Zoom. But yeah. Oh wait, really quick.
Go ahead.
One more thing. The arts and music is really good. I play drums and am in the music program. And if anybody knows like Roy Nathanson, it's like an old like saxophone player who played for the Lounge Lizards, and he was the music teacher. And now it's this guy named Albert Marquez, and he's like also a Latin jazz pianist. And there's like once you get into like an art, and if you want to like invest your time into like the drama department or like the visual arts department or the music department, you can like really work hard at it, and there's a lot of opportunities and playing in like bigger like gigs, and it's nice.
Awesome. Cool. And then last but not least, Leela.
Okay. So, geez, the question was about unique things about my school.
Just your favorite thing.
Oh,
Whatever.
my favorite thing. Okay. I was like, there's been a lot of things said. I'm going to be blatantly honest. Baruch is a very small school. We don't have a lot of space, but it's less about the space, I feel, and I'm not even going to be like it's what you do with it. It's really about the teachers, and it's really about the people there. A majority of the teachers have been there since the very beginning. Baruch has been around since I think 2001, around that time. Some of my favorite teachers have been there since then. Their curriculums are so much fun because they've been around so long. They know what works with kids and they know what gets people excited. And like they make changes as they see fit. As things change and as people's interests change over time, they change to adapt to it. And it is so interesting to see. Just this year, I'm in a book club with my 9th grade literature teacher and a couple of other people, which is another thing I love is all the clubs, which happen spontaneously and it's amazing. We read a book that she really liked and she was like, maybe we should add this to the curriculum because everybody in the book club liked it and I see themes in here that everyone enjoys. So we added Little Fires Everywhere to the 9th grade literature curriculum because it was something that people enjoyed and people got excited to talk about. So I think that might be my most favorite thing about Baruch in general. So I think it's important to say this because you won't be able to look at the school, and I really want to exasperate that it's a small school, and if you go there, like if you're interested in sports or visual arts, I'm going to be blatantly honest, Baruch is maybe not the best place to go if you want to focus on those things. Our gym is the size of a normal classroom with 4 big pillars in the middle of it. I actually enjoy gym. Again, I'm not the best one to judge. I'm not the most athletic person in the whole world, but the gym teacher adapts to the environment. We go outside to the Madison Park and we run around. We have different sports games that are actually really fun for everybody involved, both amateur players and seasoned ones. But yeah, it's a small school. It's 5 floors. It's not cramped, but sometimes hallway traffic's an issue. But yeah.
Awesome, thanks. And that was a great segue because Lulu was being very honest about some of the shortcomings. So that's the next thing that I sort of want to talk about. One thing about your school that is not your favorite, one thing you would want to change about it. And then also if you could talk a little bit about the sorts of students that might not be so successful at your school, whether that be because of academics or the social environment, or like Lulu was talking about, a lack of access to certain programming, stuff like that. Okay, can we start with Helen?
Yeah, of course. So once again, I go to Beacon, and one of the shortcomings I think of my school is that it's very large. Each grade is about 400 students. So that's about, again, 1,200 students in the entire school. And yet my school is very large, so it does accommodate everyone. But it is difficult if you are a student who needs one-on-one help with the teacher quite frequently. And if you have trouble advocating for yourself, and if you have trouble being independent and managing your time, we do have a great 504 and IEP program, yet if you don't have that qualification, then you can't get those amenities. So that is difficult. So you do really have to advocate for yourself and email your teachers, and they will always email you back, but you have to reach out. So if you have difficulty with that, then that Beacon may not be the best school, but we are incredible with our advisory program. We're great with building those bonds with your teachers. When we're in school, we all get to know our teachers very well. We often have office hours multiple times a week. We have SGI, which means you get to come in. We have first period free on Fridays, and you get to just meet with your teachers and just catch up on any work, ask any questions, ask questions about your grades specifically. So that's really helpful. But I mean, if big schools are not what you prefer, then maybe Beacon's not the best school. But I didn't think I would like a big school initially, and then I started to learn about Beacon, and now I love it. I love getting to know all these types of people. It's very diverse, and it's perfect for me at least. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Alex, let's go to you, and then we'll go to David.
Are we on the 4th or the 3rd question?
Number 4, but 3rd on that second list.
I guess one thing I would change about my school is I guess the electives we take, because so far I'm pretty sure all we take is art, and then later on in the year we take drama. But I think last year we had 4 electives. We had art, drama, computer science, and music. And I really liked computer science and music, but I don't have access to that anymore. So it's kind of bumming me out, but nothing I can do about it.
Got it. Yeah. All right. So David, do you have anything to add?
Yes. Okay. So one thing I would like to change is how how the marking period is, because I tend to be like very forgetful. So in each marking period, we take like different classes, and I kind of don't like that because sometimes I could forget like something we learned from another class, and it's just not very the most beneficial for me. And I think to attend this school, you have to be like somewhat independent because the teachers don't really chase after you to complete the assignments, so you really have to like keep up with your own personal work.
Got it. Awesome. Okay, cool. So Vera, could you go next?
So I guess this is more of like a personal thing for me because I am really into physics and science. So my school does not offer AP physics. My school doesn't offer a lot of AP classes because it kind of goes against their philosophy of like focusing more on like really learning content instead of just, taking college level courses and getting good grades and stuff. So we do have AP.
I think we lost you there, Vera, but we'll
courses like only taken. Oh, did I freeze out?
You did for a second, but continue. We can hear you now.
Oh, sorry.
No.
So we don't. We have very like the AP courses are very limited. So you can only start in junior year, and you can only take one AP course plus AP calculus. So I'm only able to take two because I'm taking AP calculus BC this year. So like sometimes, I mean, depending on how you think about it, especially for college, because now I'm thinking about college, and like sometimes like there are certain colleges that like when people have more AP courses under their belt. So sometimes that could be a bit of a disadvantage. And just personally for me, I really wish I could take AP physics. But in a way, like it's also kind of an advantage because it forces the students to kind of focus more on like there's not a lot of pressure academically, and like it's really goes into their philosophy of just having the students really learn about just like to learn, like really enforcing like learning instead of just getting good grades for the sake of getting good grades.
Right. Got it. All right. Sophia, could you talk a little bit about Millennium and one thing you might want to change there?
Yeah, I mean, the well-known thing is that there's not a lot of space. It doesn't mean it's a small school. It just means that the space itself is in an office building. So we don't have a full Olympic-sized gym. We do have a lot of workout rooms, and it's pretty fun because we play Just Dance and we have a lot of fun in gym. We found ways around it. But in terms of like a very traditional big gym, we don't have that. So if sports is like the big priority and you just want to go downstairs, it's not something we have, but we do have partnership with Millennium Brooklyn, and we have really great sports teams there. It just takes a little bit of a commute, but our sports teams are really successful. But what's really great about that is there's a lot of focus on community outside of sports and through clubs. And because it's not the sports focus, it's very academic focused and like fostering your own creative thought and making your own clubs and like being a part of leadership. So yeah, the space is definitely a concern, but I think we've really found ways around it as of now.
Great. Jasper, how about you?
Well, okay, a few things. One, I don't like how like the work kind of builds to be a lot towards the end, and it's not that much if you actually do it when they ask you to do it. But if you kind of wait till the last minute, it gets to be like a lot of builded up work. Whereas like it could just be one cycle project for one class is done at the beginning of the month or at the beginning of the cycle, and then the next one's done towards the middle, and then the last one or two is done at the end. But they're kind of all the projects are kind of put at the same like project time, which gets pretty overwhelming. Another thing is this is a good thing, but it can also be looked at as a bad thing, is that because there's such few kids at this school, there's only like 60 kids in my grade or 60 something kids in my grade. it's nice and you build a good connection with them, but at the same time, you're with them, or I've been with them since middle school. So I guess it's actually gonna be different if you're coming in for high school, but you're with a very tight knit group of kids for a long time, which gets to be a lot too.
Right. Yeah. Hunter is similar in that way. I've been there since kindergarten, so it's a small group of kids for a long period of time. Okay, Dylan, how about you?
Okay. One shortcoming I would say my school has is the music department. I mean, the art department is great. I love the art department. There are a lot of materials, and we have great projects that we do every week for art, and it doesn't take up too much time. It's like very progressive. It like goes step by step into creating like this one big project. But for music, we're not, as far as I know, we're not doing music remotely, and I'm not sure how. I'm just taking art right now, but when we did it in school, it was just you could either choose piano or guitar, and we would learn the same songs, and it was either piano or guitar, or there was like one person usually that did like the bass, but no one really was interested, and it wasn't like the most creative program for me. That's basically the only shortcoming I could think of.
Got it. Thanks for sharing. All right, Nick, how about you?
One thing, well, my school, there's always like smaller things that I would like to nitpick, but overall, I think we have to fix the teachers' work. During module week, we have this entire week where we're learning about a totally different subject and we're given totally different assignments. So right before that week, I don't think the teachers should be giving assignments because we have to do that work plus the module week's work at the same time. So sometimes we either forget about it or it's just confusing to go back and forth between subjects.
Got it. Thanks. Erica, could you go next?
Yeah, of course. So High School of Art and Design is a really, really big school. We're located in Midtown, and we have about 1,500 kids in our school. And we share a building with an elementary school, so it's kind of interesting to that dynamic. So since we are such a big school, it's kind of hard to go through the hallways and everything and try to get to our class in time. But since our school is so progressive and teaching students like for their future or topic that they really want to pursue, I really feel like there should be more academic classes based off of helping us for our future. Like I really feel like, we should obviously have our core classes, but I think there should be some added courses maybe on how to do your taxes or like how to buy a house or, because we do take these really good core classes, but why not help us pursue our, not just our art career, but our actual career in general. So yeah, I had a few points I wanted to make. So yeah, our school is big. I wish there were more academics classes. And since we are part of the DOE, I really do see the stress that the teachers are going through. And then I see that they are going through what we're going through. We're struggling all together. And I find it concerning because I really want to obtain everything. And since we are a DOE school, it's like we're being taught for a test in the future because for AP classes specifically, not necessarily regents. So I wish that there was more leniency when it comes to like teaching AP classes because it's so rigorous. And I did see a question in the chat for design. It's like how well do students and teachers get along? That's something I really, really, really love about art and design. It's probably the best part of it is that teachers and students get along very well. I can reach out to my teachers at basically any time of day and they'll get back to me as soon as they can about personal stuff, professional stuff. And they really make sure that, you're obtaining what you need to, you're learning what you need to. And I think self-advocacy is also a really big part of being in such a big school. But what I also love is that even if you aren't the most like outspoken person, is that the teachers would really make sure that you're okay and you're learning what you need to.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Okay. Leanne, let's go to you and then we can go to Con right after.
This is a little bit of a small thing, but in the high school program, we still have to take all of our Regents exams just so we can get our high school diplomas. And it is really, really nice when we go into the college program because we don't have to take any standardized tests. There are no APs, no Regents, and you can just learn and enrich yourself. But in the high school program, there were so many times where I found myself getting really excited about something and my whole class grew doing all these things, especially towards the end of the year. We had to sort of pause and go back to the content that would be included in the Regents. And because we were all taking the Regents and we had to be prepared for that. So that did take away from some, I guess, possibly very exciting discussions that we could have been having. But that is just a small thing. We don't take very many Regents and we don't have APs to study for either. Also, I think BARD would not be the place for someone who can who struggles to be motivated in class, or if you don't find yourself getting really, really excited to learn something new, because we do have a bit of a workload, and I find myself personally really, really excited to do all of my homework, no matter how much I have. But I guess if that's not something that, you know, gives you a thrill, it might be difficult to find the motivation to get through all of that work outside of class.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, Con, do you have anything to add? Oh, sorry, I paired up the wrong students. I meant to do both BARD students. Sorry, remind me which Wes, sorry, go ahead. Con, we'll go to you in a second. Sorry about that.
Right, thank you. So just to build off what Leanne said, I just want to say that I don't think I'm as good student as Leanne. Personally, I don't find myself excited to do homework every night, but who knows, that might just be me. I think that on top of what Leanne said, another thing that BARD could do better, sorry, I have to look at my notes here. What was I going to say? It's more of a, as much as they say that it's not a liberal arts focused school, I definitely think that at BARD Manhattan specifically, which is where me and Leanne attend, that the liberal arts classes are stronger than the STEM classes. You do take STEM classes, you take physics in 9th grade, chemistry in 10th grade, biology in 11th grade, and you can choose your science class in 12th grade. I do think that there are a lot fewer options to explore sort of STEM, whether you want to go into engineering or just more of the natural sciences. It's more limited at BARD, while the liberal arts classes are a lot more, I guess, available. Teachers teach a lot more liberal arts classes. Writing is very heavily emphasized at BARD. So if you're not a student that, or if you're a student that really hates writing, BARD might not be the place for you. There are a lot of essays, but just to address some other questions, as Leanne said, there are no AP classes at BARD, and that's simply because you take college classes in 11th and 12th grade, and you're getting college credits for all of those classes. As far as diversity goes, I personally think that BARD has a little ways to go in terms of diversity. It's not the most diverse school, but then again, it's not the least diverse school. But I would like to see a little more diversity at BARD. Socially, it is kind of cliquey. People tend to have their friend groups, and I have seen this change up over the course of a couple of years. And there are friends between different grades, between different teams. But as far as I've seen in my grade and some of the other grades, they do tend to be kind of cliquey. And I guess finally, just to talk about homework a little bit, as I said before, it's an academically rigorous school. You are going to have a good amount of work, a good amount of essays, and just work in general. But if you plan your time out well, and you sort of space out your assignments, it is, I guess I wouldn't say easy, but it's reasonable to keep your work spaced out and not be feeling too overloaded. Unless, of course, you leave all your assignments till the end, in which case I think, similar as a lot of schools, it will sort of stack up and get pretty hard.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, awesome. Sorry, again, going back to my list. Daniel, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so something that I think I would maybe change for my school is that maybe the studio classes. Studio classes are like classes that aren't the main course, so things like art or maybe theater, like that type of thing. I think that I would like more of a change, not a change, but more like more diverse or more, maybe just in general, more options. I think that the options that we get were limited this year, and obviously due to COVID, sadly. But last year, it didn't seem like there were that many options that like appealed to me. We had like maybe five of them. We had like art, theater, coding, skateboarding, and then language. And I think this year was limited to just like language, art, like design and photography. So there was only like a certain amount of things that we can do, which I would change, but I know that if we could, we would, because I know that our school is really open to change and we like changing all the time. We add new topics and subjects that we can do, and we always change around how it goes.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear. Okay, Alexander, you're up.
So I guess two things that women's schools that I wish I could change or improve on is the space. The first is the space because, like someone said, I think someone said they had a small gym. My school doesn't even have a gym. We have a lobby, and I remember first day of orientation, they were setting up chairs. I'm like, oh, so this is our, I guess, like orientation space. Although we don't have space for like a gym or like a swimming pool or anything, we find ways around that. So such in the building, we have our weight room, which is full of donated machines. But I think by NYU, we have like a calisthenics machines and cardio machines. And then for sports wise, just because we have a limited amount of sports, just makes the community so much that much stronger. Um, because personally, I joined the handball team and I met someone. I met an alumni who graduated like over 5 years ago, and not, I still have a contact with them. It's just a strong sense of community. And other than our sport, we have other ways of getting some active space, such as like down near the river, we have basketball city, which we go to during gym class and for our basketball team. Also for other gym classes in general, we go to the park or the park behind us, or we go to another park 5 blocks away. And we for classes we have a limit. I guess not specific classes that someone would be wanting to in a high school. So such as I would really I'd really be interested in having an engineering class, but just the fact that I don't have that class, it just makes me know what I want to look like. I think it helps you know what you want in the college. Just because I didn't have that engineering class in high school makes me want to pursue engineering or interested in engineering college.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, Leela, could you go next?
Totally. So I've already voiced a little bit of my grievances about Baruch with the size. Um, Still the size. It's a small school. We also aren't. I don't want to say not very big on arts programs, but there aren't a lot of arts programs worked into the curriculum. A lot of the teachers, like a lot of the literature teachers especially, heavily incorporated into their curriculum. So like just last year we had a poetry slam in 10th grade that is an annual thing that that the 10th graders can sign up to participate in. It's a big school event. It's a lot of fun. But we only have one official arts class. It's studio art. You have to take it in 10th grade, and then it's an elective in 11th. And then there might be honors arts next year. I don't think so. I think they're taking it out of the curriculum. And if, again, I'm going to be completely honest, I did not like that class. The teacher is not my favorite teacher in the whole world. I'm not going to say more than that, but she's very particular, and it sometimes feels like she's not teaching to the best of her ability. And too much work that's just busy work that doesn't make any sense. The other important thing that I'd like to say is that I'm pretty sure this is just my grade because things have been relatively the same since after my grade goes through. But very recently, Baruch's teachers have been switching out pretty quickly. Like I have one new teacher this year. I had 2 new teachers last year. A lot of teachers have been leaving recently. I will speak to it feels very random if the teachers are going to be good or bad. But I will say that 10th grade and 9th grade both have fantastic teachers all around. They're incredible. And I don't want to say that like like there's going to be a teacher you don't like in every year. Like it's for everybody, and I think it's in every school. There's never going to be an entire panel of teachers that you're like, oh, they're all my favorites. But there's somebody that somebody likes in every single grade. I can assure you that much. There's always going to be in a class that you're going to be looking forward to going to every day, and you're going to enjoy being in.
Yeah, totally. I think that's all anyone can hope for out of a high school experience. Okay, Layla, why don't you go, and then we'll go to Khan. Sorry about that mix up.
No, don't worry. So I think something that a lot of people at Eleanor Roosevelt High School kind of tend to not love is the amount of tests and also the amount of homework. A lot of people tend to be overwhelmed by it, and that's not really their favorite. But what I will say is that Elro is really rigorous. You have to be prepared to meet that level of rigor. When I would do virtual open houses, in-person open houses in past years, one of the teachers who was doing them with me had this saying, like, if your child is struggling in middle school, they're going to struggle here. And I think that kind of made sense because of the rigor of Elro. So in terms of that kind of issue that people have with Elro, I see it, but I also think that it's kind of something you have to be prepared to, and you kind of have to expect to have a lot of tests and homework. And if you accomplish it, then you're going to succeed as a student. You're going to learn, you're going to comprehend, you're going to actually understand. So yeah.
Awesome. Khan, anything to add?
Yeah, as a freshman, I can't speak to too much about the size of the school or something like that because I haven't really been there too much. But I can say that it is, as Layla was saying, there's a lot of homework, especially in some classes. But I think it's kind of you need to be committed. If you're not committed, it's not. If you're not committed to your schoolwork, or just have a committed personality, it won't be the best fit. But I think either way, if you do go to Elro, they will prepare you to become committed to these topics, especially in one of my electives, which is super cool, which is called automotive engineering, which we 3D design F1 cars throughout the whole year, and we race them in regional and national competitions. And in that class, the first thing he said on the first day was, if you're not committed, if you're not prepared to stay up at 2 a.m. on breaks and during the school week, this is not the class for you. Because and that really goes to show how you have to be prepared for all of the work. Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, Stephanie, how about you?
It was a question about the starting time. So if we're in school, it usually starts at 8:30, and then now since it's remote, it starts at 9. But I think for the one thing I would change about Harvest is I feel like during the remote learning, it's been hard for everyone, teachers and students, to kind of adapt to this new learning experience. But sometimes I find it hard for my schedule. I do get to choose my own schedule in the sense of electives, but in the sense of like English, math, I do have to take those. But sometimes I found that my electives kind of overlap each other because certain times the teachers do have an opportunity for you to do office hours. So if you're struggling with something, you could join Zoom and kind of have a one-on-one meeting, or in a small group of students kind of talk to the teacher about your issues that you're having with the classwork or homework. And sometimes I kind of like to be available to go join those office hours, but it was an instance where I wanted to do concert band, but I also wanted to do AP computer science, and I kind of had to choose between the two because I wasn't able to do both at once. But there's definitely spaces that you could communicate to the principal and the teacher to try to like share your issues and get situation solved. I feel like every student in Harvest would succeed. There is a very diverse group of learners, with independent learners, collaborative learners, one-on-one learners with the teacher, and with IEP students. I know someone was asking more about that. IEP students are usually in the classroom. Certain times for certain assignments, they might be taken out with a para and work within small groups. I'm not I don't really know much else about that other than that. But I do feel like some students will have a very personalized experience in Harvest. There's some teachers that I like that probably my friends don't like, just based on their personal preferences. Some people don't like strict teachers, some people don't like a lot of homework. It's basically the type of learner you are. But I would say if you really don't like writing, I don't think Harvest would be a right school for you. Going into Harvest, I really did not like to write that much. Like I would kind of get stressed out, like, oh, I have to write 2 pages. But now I could write like 10-page papers with no problem, just because of how much of writing assignments that they do give you. We are not really a test-based school. The only test that you would really see is here and there, mid-unit assessment and final assessment in math, and maybe a few tests with history, but it doesn't really push you that much as if you know the material. The things that kind of push you more is the writing and the capstones and gateways.
Awesome. Thanks so much. All right, Charlie, can you close us out for this question?
Yeah, a lot of people kind of said what I'm going to say, but it all depends on the type of person you are. And if you're the kid that needs 500 or even 300 plus kids in the grade, Clinton is not the right school because it's definitely a lot smaller and there's not a wide variety of people, but there are some kids that like that one-on-one attention and like that close-knit community. So it really depends on the type of kid you are. And also adding on about the sport, because Clinton is so new, it's kind of a double-edged sword in that we are new and we have more opportunities, but we, in terms of getting a lot of sports, we don't have that many sports teams because it's a long process to be approved by PSAL, but it's definitely in the process, and every year they really try to get new teams. So I wouldn't say it's never coming, but it's a process. And also in terms of like college admissions, there have been only, I think, 2 or 3 graduating classes. So if you're the type of person that needs a school that has been around for 10 years and is very used to college admissions, I don't know if we're that advanced with that, but again, we're still working on it. We have great guidance counselors, and the past 3 years we've had kids go to great colleges, so it hasn't really proved to be harmful that we're so new, but again, it all depends on your preferences.
Yeah, totally. All right. Thank you guys all so much for being so honest about that.
Go.
Oh my gosh, Lily, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I don't want to be annoying, but
no. Sorry about that.
For my school, Essex Street, the one thing that I would definitely change is the amount of choice you get in your classes. I think that we're like really strong in a lot of areas, but because we're such a small school of like 300 kids, it's really hard to have a diverse option of classes to choose from. Our electives aren't like super robust. So that's one thing. The second thing is that our STEM program, I would say, is not as good as our humanities program. Like I haven't felt particularly challenged. And I think that if you're someone who's like super into engineering or like just STEM, then like maybe you wouldn't love it. I think there are ways to advocate for yourself in getting the kind of work that you want to have, but in general, it's like not as strong as humanities. As for like who would thrive at Essex, I honestly think most people would. Despite the whole STEM thing, I think Essex does a really good job of just supporting kids no matter like who you are. We are a lottery school, so it's really like every type of person is there, and every teacher kind of caters to their class and the group of students they have. Another thing is that our art program is like a casual art program. I transferred from LaGuardia my sophomore year, so I was in like a full like 2-hour art program every day. So for me, like that was great that it was kind of more casual, like twice a week. But for some people, if they want to like do like an art and design type thing, then like maybe not.
Got it. All right. Thank you. Okay. So our last sort of like full question that we're going to go for is about remote learning and how your schools have all adapted to this new remote world that we're all living in, and also how they've fostered community and sort of like mental health during this time. And we'd also like to know about like the stress and mental health status of students at your schools more generally as well. So Lily, I'm going to make sure I don't skip you again this time. Could you go right from the top?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that my school has done a really good job of making mental health resources accessible to kids. We have like online therapy available or online counseling available for individuals. I think it's also great that we've kept our advisory program. So we do advisory once a week for an hour, and your advisory is something that you have for all 4 years. So it's really nice to see like familiar faces once a week. Although like you probably know most people in your classes anyway. So I think that's really important. That's one of the ways that we build community in school as well. We have a really robust club offering. Yeah, I think we have a club called Core Values where we kind of go around to freshman classrooms and kind of talk about what ESA is and what our expectations are. So we have a really cool community, and I think really good communication between students, staff, and administration, or students, teachers, and administration. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Erica, could you go next?
Yeah, sure. So I really feel art and design had the quickest transition from before and after, because we were so heavy-handed on technology to begin with. In terms of mental health and everything, it's kind of a tricky question because I kind of have a biased opinion because since I'm a junior, I know everyone in my class already. So for me, I don't really need a strong sense of community because I know everyone and like we're all friends. But for example, if you're a freshman, you came in and you don't know anyone, I think they would be having a hard time because to be honest, I really don't feel like the community at art and design is the strongest in terms of like turning on cameras and engaging. And I think there's really a lack of that. And since we are such a motivated school to like, get good grades, to work really hard in the major that you're in, I think mental health is kind of really challenging, not just me, but in my peers, because in school you had one-on-one time with your teacher, like teachers would stay like 6:30 on after school just to help kids who really needed help. So there's a lot more opportunities to have one-on-one with your teacher and with peers. And I think I really want to try to like help and have my peers and teachers really kind of put emphasis on we need to do something to add office hours or to really help kids who are struggling, because I think that's something we need to address.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Okay, Sophia, could you go next?
Yeah. So what's interesting about remote learning for our school is that it follows suit with how they are normally. Every teacher has a different system for remote learning. So they use the class time in really different ways, whether we do a flipped system where it's lecture style the night before and then just discussion based, or doing a slide presentation during class. I think they've done a really great job of like creating a variety, so you're not just sitting and listening to people talking. They want to sort of create that classroom-like environment during school hours so that it feels as normal as possible. In terms of like mental health, I think the guidance team has done a really good job in adding more members and reaching out to every student and asking to meet with them. Like they asked to meet with me and I'd never met guidance in my like 3 years at Millennium. So, they've definitely been making strides to do that. I would just say if you're a student that is not great at advocating for oneself, it can be hard to like participate and speak up on Zoom during these classes because they are challenging. I saw a question in the chat about how challenging our classes, and they still are really challenging. It's not, because it's remote and online, it's really easy. It's still really, really hard. So you sort of need to be the person that wants to raise their hand during class and write questions in the chat and sort of figure out things with your teacher, or else like learning through a screen with these difficult classes is not really going to work.
Got it. Thank you so much. Dylan, could you go?
During remote learning, a lot of teachers have had us do we've utilized like different websites for different projects that I've never used before, which is pretty cool. Like in Spanish, we had to make like a menu of Spanish foods, and we used like a website where we could customize our own thing, which was pretty cool. Um, we have office hours every day. Um, Different classes have their different days, but anyone can come in who's in that class. And we have this thing called Family Circle every morning. Our school starts 9:30, and it's our periods are 30 minutes, but this and the same goes for Family Circle, and it's 9:30 to 10, and it's just like a kickstart in the morning where you can relax, and sometimes we play games, or they've been doing this new thing where you talk to your Family Circle teacher in a breakout room individually, and just like talk about how everything's going with remote learning, and if you want to talk about anything personal, you can do that. And yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Thanks so much. Alexander, could you go?
So the way that my school is handling online learning is kind of really interesting to me, because I understand that most schools are having like school every day. My school has school every day, but it's like some classes are on this day and some classes are on other days. So I have like math and English on Monday and Friday, and it's not just once a day, because my school understands that people have different schedules. Some people aren't in the state, and some people aren't even in the country. So we have like math or English or these classes like 3 times a day. Kids attend whichever class they feel comfortable with and that works with their schedule. And when it comes to mental health, my school has many clubs. Many clubs that it's not really aimed towards a specific grade. It's more like aimed to everyone. We have a board game club. We have biweekly meetings, biweekly clubs, weekly clubs, and we also make sure to take care of our incoming freshmen, because we understood that not since we're all remote, some kids are blended. We understood that all of them haven't met each other, so we found a way to connect them with one another inside of a Zoom meeting, or inside of like a new club for freshmen. Yes. So it's just been a main focus of schools have our teachers having open office hours for their students, such as like I know a teacher my business teacher who has office hours almost 3 days out of the week, and she's available from 7 to 8. It's not necessarily just to make up work. It's like also to talk to her or talk to, because I believe that almost every student in my school has someone they can go to that's not guidance, or at least. So I think my school really focuses on having connections with students and making sure that they're okay wherever they are, as how they state or the country.
Great, thank you. Okay, David, let's go to you next, and then Alex can add on for School of the Future.
Okay, so in terms of remote learning, to build a community, teachers usually insist on us having our cameras on, so they could feel more motivated, so we could feel more motivated to like learn. And in terms of like mental health, we like have these like circles, which we do like in these circles we get to learn about certain activities that we want to learn about, and it's where we could really come together and focus on what we love most.
Awesome. Alex, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, like I said, there's we have like extra study hall periods, SGI periods all the time. And most of the time, if you just pay attention during like the actual class period, you don't need to attend study hall. But if you just want to talk to the teacher or talk with some kids that are there, you can stay, and there's an extra like 45 minutes for you to just talk to them and hang out, which is kind of cool. I don't attend them, but some people do.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Daniel, could you go next?
Yeah, so my school handles online remote like similarly. Some teachers will stress having the camera on all the time, every day, while some teachers may like say that you can just turn it off and just like relax and like lay back and just like listen to what they're gonna say. Also going on with that, there are remote hours for like students who maybe feel like they need extra help, or maybe they need to learn something or ask a teacher a question. The teachers have set office hours like every day that you can just go like whenever there's no classes, and it's just you can ask them questions. Other than that, I think that the remote has been going good. I don't think that there has been many like troubles. Obviously, people have gotten tech issues before, but it happens, and I think our school is really like okay with that happening, and they understand.
Great, thanks. Charlie, could you go?
Yeah. I was gonna say that it's definitely been a learning process. Like in the beginning in March, we started off doing a lot of like asynchronous work, not a lot of in-class time. And then as it went on, we saw what was really effective. So we started doing a lot, like we have all in class now. So we have very organized blocks, and we have like most of the teachers require you to have your camera on. So it's a lot more organized as time went on, which I'm sure it was like most schools. It was definitely like a very hard to adjust. But in terms of mental health, something that stuck out to me is that my math teacher at the end of every assignment has a little question that says, how are you doing? Feel free to reach out to me if anything. And I thought that was just like a very nice gesture he makes, which lets us know that like he's always there if we ever need anything, which is the same with all of our teachers, and our guidance counselors pretty much are the same way. But I think that's pretty much it. We're very focused on mental health, and there's always a space to go if you ever have any issues.
Awesome, that's great. Okay, let's go to Wes and then to Leanne for Bard.
Great. So at Bard, they've been handling online learning pretty well. Classes are still just as challenging, and each class meets twice to 3 times a week. Advisory is also meeting each week, which is very good. It gives students a chance to, I don't know, talk with their advisors if they're having any problems in any classes or just any problems with online learning in general, as well as they get to talk to a small group of kids also in their grade. Teachers usually try and make sure that people have their cameras on and they're still staying actively engaged in class, which is very important. And so outside of online learning, in terms of, I guess I can talk about our arts, which didn't get touched on a little bit. But our arts programs, while we do have arts, they aren't maybe as heavily emphasized as in places like LaGuardia, as kids usually take art as sort of electives, but we do have different music, different band, guitar, piano, as well as some fine arts and theater programs. The theater puts on musicals traditionally every like once a semester. In terms of how the college process works, there are no few schools that Bard sends kids to college to. Kids go to college everywhere in the city, everywhere in the country. But the college process is very thought out at Bard. Each group of kids is sort of or is sort of assigned their own college advisor, with, I guess, within like sort of around 10 other kids, 10 to 15 other kids. And your college advisor is the one who you can go to if you have any college questions about applications. They write your counselor letter of recommendation. And with the college office, they're just another great sort of resource for you to use. And I guess, let's see, is there anything else I wanted to talk about? In terms of IEPs, students with IEPs, I personally don't know that much about this topic, but I know some kids with IEPs are just mixed in with regular classes. And if students need extra help or more challenging work in any class, they can go to the teacher. Teachers are very enthusiastic to provide kids with extra work if they need. And if kids needs extra help, especially in online learning, there are a lot of office hours traditionally offered after school every day for a couple of hours, and teachers are very open to meeting one-on-one if you need to.
Great, thanks so much. Leanne, do you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I think also in our arts programs, we also have dance, which one thing that I didn't know before I came to Bard was like just how invested the dance teacher is. And my arts elective right now is dance, and we're doing all sorts of dancey things. It's about contemporary dance, and we're like choreographing, we're writing essays about dance. And we do little warm-ups in class, and that's lent itself to online learning a lot better than I thought it would. But I think we're managing online learning pretty well. I only have about 3 Zooms every day all of our clubs are on Zoom. We did have a bit of trouble with kind of standardizing or centralizing our like online platforms. I think last year and previous years, people were kind of all over the place, and then we brought it in to Google Classroom for this year, although there are some faculty members who are rebelling and using their own things, which I guess is to be expected. And our Zooms are also very, very small this year to make it easy to switch between blended and online learning. We only have about 10 people in each Zoom, in each class at a time instead of our usual like 16 to 23. And we also have office hours, peer tutoring. We had a town hall about mental health last week where I learned that we have an additional guidance counselor for students with IEP, something I did not know before. And there are tons of places where anyone can go if they need help with anything. So everyone's very supportive, and everything that most of the things that we had in person have translated nicely onto Zoom.
Great, thanks so much. Okay, Helen, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So my school, I'm going to be completely honest here, last year did not do a great job with transferring into online learning in March. It was just very all over the place. There was a period, actually no, the entire year from March till June, I'm going to be honest, I did not meet with two of my teachers since I left school. I did not personally meet with them, which was a big issue. I was I think a lot of students as well as I were struggling a lot with just the transfer and keeping up with all of our work because we do have a heavy workload. But now over the summer, we actually added guidance counselors. We also got a new principal. So that's kind of changed a lot within our school. So now we have a whole schedule that we use every day, and we have synchronous classes every day. And although we did limit the amount of classes per week, we only have 3 of each class per week. It is so much better. Everyone is so much happier and doing much better in their classes as well. And I'd say that the biggest improvement would have to be having advisory now every morning. So we've had the same advisory for we're gonna have them for the whole 4 years of high school. And now we meet every single morning with the same kids and our advisor for a 15-minute check-in before each class. And I love that. It's a great time for us all just to wake up and we have a question that we always answer every morning, and we play a game. And then we have on Fridays, we only have 1 class. And there's no extra work or anything. And then later in the day after that 1 period, we have an hour where we just meet with our advisor. And that's such a great time to just kind of unwind, and we kind of just go through the week and talk about our highs and lows. And I think it's just a great time for us all to kind of just relax and reflect. And also our new principal and our guidance counselors have been sending out emails. We have a lot of opportunities to kind of reach out. Our guidance counselors have been asking to individually meet with each of us just to have a little check-in, get to know them, since a lot of them are new. It's a great experience. And the hybrid schedule is a big change just because it's a lot shorter and there's only 40 minutes in the period. So it is a lot of work and a lot of stuff that does have to get done in a small amount of time. And so it is kind of rushed, and there is a lot of work that has to be posted online. So it is somewhat overwhelming, but I'd say that we've been handling it pretty well. Our teachers are always available. They have office hours set up frequently throughout the week, and we can meet with them whenever we need to, which is so helpful, and we're so appreciative. And our teachers are all so great with getting to know us, even though it's online and we can't actually meet them in person. There have been times where I came into school just to get materials, and I've just met with them for the first time, and it was outside the school building. And they made sure that they met with every student just to give them the materials and just to meet with them, to actually meet them in person. And we appreciate that so much. So I feel that was a big step that was really helpful for all the students.
That's so great. Okay, in the interest of time, there are, I think, 7 of you left that need to answer this question. So let's just try to keep the responses as brief as possible. Vera, go ahead.
So I'm also going to be honest, very similar to Helen. The transition to remote learning in March was a little wonky. There were some classes where no live classes were held, and I struggled with that personally. I think in terms of remote learning, it's a different experience for everyone, because I know that in my school, there are some people who are homeless, so or don't have resources. So it's, I think it really depends on the person. I have though been pretty impressed with how my school's been handling remote learning. Like all the teachers are required to do at least 2 live classes per week. It really depends because all the teachers create their own curriculum and classes. So, it really depends in terms of live classes and, what the work is like. In terms of mental health, as I said before, the support systems at the iSchool are so great. The advisory program is amazing. All the teachers are always constantly checking in to ask how you're doing, they're interested in, what you do outside of school and all that sort of stuff. And our guidance counselor, we have one amazing guidance counselor who really makes sure to check in with all the students. So it's really great.
Awesome. That's so good to hear. Okay, Jasper, go ahead.
So, like everybody's been saying, it was tough at the beginning, but I like the system we're in now. The schedule's like pretty consistent for every week, which was not the case last year. I love the office hours. I am like one of the only kids that like does them all the time, and I don't know. It's like nice because it's actually a personal encounter with your teachers, which you don't get because in in-person school you can just, or you could used to be able to just kind of go to their classroom after class and talk to them and they'll help you with whatever you need help with. But this is just that virtually, and it's very important. And if there weren't office hours, I'd probably not be doing great. I just like we're on this thing called Remind, which is like a way, it's like basically being able to text your teachers. And it's basically like text. It's like a more formal version of texting, but like less formal than email because they'll just get back to you really quickly. And it's super important. Teachers are also a lot more lenient with online, which is super helpful. Like I'll get an extension if I need it, which I never used to ask for extensions until like recent projects, but they're very open to that and they want you to succeed, which is like nice to know.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Stephanie, could you go?
I feel like some days with remote learning is definitely harder than others. Since I have added on a few extra classes, some days I do end class at 3 or 4 p.m. and some days I do end school at 12. So it's kind of different compared to some schools that we don't really end that early. Harvest tries to keep it within the normal type of day. Some classes we have double periods, but they do make sure that we have the help that we need with the office hours or on appointment. You can schedule a meeting up to an hour, or as Lee says, 15 minutes, that you could just have a one-on-one with your teachers. And they like pretty often send out Google Forms, or they just check up on you, ask how you're doing, ask how this class, like the work has been. And sometimes if they find that you're struggling in a class, a teacher will reach out to you personally. And if anything personal is going on, they do make sure that, there's lunch served at the schools, and that if you need technology, they will try to get it to you with a school iPad or computer. One thing I kind of wanted to touch on really briefly was race. I don't feel like race is an issue with our school. It's a lot of people from different backgrounds. Everyone is welcome in our school. There's a lot of teachers from different backgrounds, and it's never been a problem.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. I know a lot of schools are, having a real reckoning with their admission systems because of that this year. Okay, awesome. Layla, let's go to you, and then Khan to talk about Elro.
I believe Layla said she had to leave at 7, so I think she had something right after.
Got it. Okay, so Khan, you go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. So, during remote learning, 100%, I was pretty surprised at how quickly Eleanor Roosevelt could adapt to the situation by not taking off any of the curriculum. And while it's still the same amount of homework and same amount of classes, same amount of hours, the teachers really regulate that so that you're not rushing to get the work done. They're more focused on you understanding the material. but I did see some questions in the Q&A about the art program specifically. I believe the art program, so you have to take a mandatory 2 electives of STEM classes, so like robotics, like I'm taking right now, automotive engineering. And then the other 2 years, it's mandatory that you take more art-based classes such as like new media or photography, guitar. And then there's another question here. Eleanor Roosevelt, yeah, Elra has a pretty good sports program. We've won multiple championships, especially in soccer and tennis. And as a competitive tennis player, I'm excited to start the tennis team hopefully this year. But we are getting a new gym built a block away, which is exciting. And the language classes at Elro too, you take, so basically whatever you took in 8th grade is dependent upon what you're going to take in 9th to 12th. So I took Spanish, advanced Spanish in 8th grade. So now I'm taking Spanish 2 in 9th grade, and I'll do that up until junior year. And then same with math and biology. It's dependent on what you took in 8th grade.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Con. All right. And then Nick. I think that's everyone. Oh, no, Leela. Sorry, Leela, go ahead, and then we'll go to Nick.
Yeah, so I think to speak to Baruch's ability to think on their feet is incredible. Throughout the entire COVID process, they've been fantastic. I have 2 younger siblings and they're in middle school, and just comparing the 2 of them is insane. Baruch's been able to be so quick on changing things. When schools were closing down, they readjusted the schedule to get everyone moved really quick. When something like I had to disconnect with with getting into school for blended learning, they remedied it within like 4 days. It was so fast, so quick. It's fantastic. To commend my teachers as well. They've been really good about it. In the same thing I said literally yesterday, I don't know if I'll be able to finish my stats homework because it's a Jewish holiday. I'm a little busy and I'm having a little bit of a rough week. And he said, if you can't hand it in at the right time, hand it in the day after. It's okay. Take the time you need. It's been rough on all of us. The sense of empathy that the teachers and the principal and the staff has over this entire experience has been incredible. They're really understanding, but they're not going to let you get away with everything. So they strike this very nice balance that I can really appreciate. When you're having a rough mental health day, they'll be like, do your work to the best of your ability, but we understand. So yeah.
Thanks. All right. So Nick, do you want to close this out for this one?
Yep. So my school hasn't really done much, honestly, for mental health issues. There is always office hours, but I think that's completely different from helping someone with their mental health. You can always just talk to them during office hours and have a conversation. But otherwise, I feel like they need to work on that. Have more gatherings just for talking instead of doing work, and then having like a separate thing that's meant for just work.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you guys all so much. We are going to have a lightning round now, but we need to keep everyone's answers very short. Okay, so if everyone can just say one, either here, choose one of these questions, either one thing you'd wish you'd known about your school before you arrived, or one piece of advice that you have for 8th graders right now. We're just going to very fast go through. Everyone say like one sentence. Okay, Wes, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I can go first. I'll say one piece of advice that I have for 8th graders is really try and look for a school where you like the community and you're gonna like spending, and the teachers, and you're gonna like spending 4 years there, because I don't know how long you think 4 years is, but it's a pretty good chunk of time. And as long as you like the community and you like the people and the teachers, then it should go well.
Great, thanks. Con, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think most for a piece of advice that I would give, I think when choosing your high school, what you want to go to, you shouldn't base it off of the rankings of the schools. You shouldn't base it off of what you've heard about the schools. You should base it off of your actual opinion of how the school is represented and how the school best fits you. Also being organized about listing pros and cons for each school to see what, that's what I did in particular. I remember very clearly because it was last year. I laid out on the table all the pros and cons for each school, listed out my top 3, and so now I'm going to Elron. I'm very happy about that. So.
Awesome. Lily, you're up.
One piece of advice that I would have is actually really similar to Con. I definitely made the mistake of like basing my high school decision on prestige, and it kind of backfired. So I think like definitely looking at the school and looking at the resources it has and if you'll actually thrive there is so important, and way more important than prestige or notoriety.
Totally. Yeah. All right, Leanne, go ahead.
One thing I didn't actually learn until 9th grade was that we have this thing called Dean's Hour, which is when either a faculty member or someone who's kind of in the community or just someone, you know, interesting comes and delivers like a talk or a lecture to the student body. It's at the end, usually at the end of every Wednesday, but now we've been doing it on Mondays. And it's really just a fun way to learn extra things. There are some that are mandatory for some grades, but there's a new one every week and they're always very interesting.
Awesome. Alex, go ahead.
One piece of advice I'd give to like an 8th grader coming into my school is kind of just don't be afraid of anything. The teachers are all really nice, and I got to know them better by joining clubs. I joined the robotics club and got to know my elective, my computer science teacher better, and my math teacher by joining the baseball club, my baseball team. And they're all really nice. I don't know, just be more active with your teachers and clubs, I guess.
Awesome. Great. All right, Vera.
One piece of advice I would give is similar to what other people have said is be very open and honest and really evaluate, you know, like who you are as a learner and like what you think, like if you're a traditional learner, if you're like a textbook person, or if you're somebody who is a hands-on learner, or like small schools, like really be open about those types of things. And kind of base your school off of that and do research. Like really make sure to research all the different schools so that you're not just like other people said, basing it off of like rankings or like prestige, because I've had many friends who made decisions based off rankings and prestige, and they were not happy at the schools because that wasn't the type of learning environment that they, you know, liked or felt most comfortable in. So definitely really be open and honest about who you are as a learner.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Sophia.
Yeah, so I guess my piece of advice kind of falls into the same thing of I don't know how exactly they're ranking schools, but don't put pressure on yourself if you don't get into your first or second choice as well, because as you can see here, like every single school is very rigorous and great. And even though you are trying to find your individual school that caters to your needs, I think if you're a good student and a good learner, you can find your people anywhere and really succeed. Because sort of like the same thing, you kind of hear, oh, Stuyvesant this and other things. But like I know a lot of people at a lot of different schools, and you know, everyone really is being challenged, and the New York City high school system is like one of the best. So just to not put as much pressure on yourself. I know we're all trying to do that with college and to find one that works for you, but they're all great schools, and you'll find good schools if you create a good list.
Yeah, thanks. All right, Leela.
Yeah, exactly. Figure out something that's going to be best for you. There's going to be a portion to everything. And you're going to be like, well, what can I do to make things best for me? What will be best for my future? But thinking about your future is great and all, but you have to think about your present right now too. Take into stock what you're going to be best at, what you're going to feel most comfortable with, what you're going to be able to logically do without completely destroying yourself. Because though thinking about college at this point is fantastic, it's great to, you know, kind of have a like future in mind where you want to go. If high school is right now and you have to figure out what's going to be best for you currently. I've known so many people who made that mistake and just went there somewhere that they think was going to be better down the line, but it's not going to be good for you in any sense of the imagination. You have to take into stock both of those and weigh them equally. Don't throw like your personal what's happening right now away because of something that you think is going to happen later.
Yes, thanks. Okay, Dylan.
Yeah, I mean, most of everyone really summed it up, but I just make sure you feel comfortable at the school you want to go, and make sure that you really see a lot of positives in the school you want to go. Just make sure that you go where you want, or you pick where you want to go, and don't be afraid to participate in class. And I think only good can come from that. So.
Awesome. Okay, since a lot of people are saying sort of similar things, does anyone feel like they have something specific they want to say? Yeah, Jasper.
Just that when you're picking your school, you should definitely look way more specifically at what like your interests are. Like when I wanted to go to ICE, I was focused on specifics like the literature and the music. And if you like have your passions focused on, then you're probably gonna find the school that works with what you love best.
Awesome. And then Alexander, do you have your hand up too?
Okay, so maybe this might not be the best thing to say in 8th grader, but sometimes taking a leap of faith is okay. So it's okay like going to your 8th or 9th or 10th stop school, because UNH was my second round last choice, and I can't imagine my high school experience if I didn't go to Manhattan every single day, leaving Brooklyn and going on a train and passing the bridge. Because I really think I found my second community at Lower East Side neighborhood.
Awesome. All right. Anyone else want to throw in a last word? Okay. Well, thank you all so much. I'll pass it back to Janine for close out. Yeah.
Thank you. Stephanie, did you have something to say? I saw your hand up briefly.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say really quick that even though college seems like very far away, just make sure that you go to a school that you know that you will thrive and will give you the resources to better you as a learner and also your future to prepare you for the life outside of just school. It's never like too late to join clubs and study and look up grade requirements for college, and just to keep on top of yourself and just grow as a human, because this is the one chance that you'll get to have this high school experience.
Well, that is the perfect way to end it. I want to thank all of our speakers tonight. We had almost 500 people on this call for the majority of the time, and parents are desperate to hear your point of views and your ideas. So thank you to all of our student panelists, and a special thank you to Betty Kavovi-Weiss, who was our moderator tonight. She did an amazing job of moving us along. Parents and students who are listening in, the Facebook link is live, so you can continue to go back and listen to students. We will take the chat and the Q&A and combine them into some usable format and get that out and share it via Facebook. And we'll figure out how to share it with all of you, since we have your email addresses from when you registered. With that, I'm going to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to our committee, and good night and good luck.
Thanks so much.
Bye. Thank you, kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Bye.